Let's be real for a second. Have you ever been told that learning Chinese is just impossibly hard? Like it's going to take you decades to even have a basic conversation? Well, I'm actually here to completely debunk that myth for you today. Welcome to this explainer on HSK 1 Lesson 1. Now, HSK 1, if you don't know, is the official standardized beginner level for Mandarin Chinese. And here's the real secret. To actually pass it, you only need to know exactly 150 basic words. That is literally it. So today we're focusing on the absolute bedrock foundation, greetings and basic introductions. And I promise you, by the end of this explainer, you aren't just going to be staring at characters, you're going to be speaking a real, complete Chinese dialogue.
Okay, let's dive right into this. Here's our roadmap for today. We've got 1. Core vocabulary, 2. Simple Chinese grammar rules, 3. Tones and character writing, and finally, 4. Your first real dialogue.
Starting us off with Section 1, Core Vocabulary Vault.
You know, I always say learning a language is kind of like building a giant Lego castle. You literally can't build anything without the right bricks, right? So don't be intimidated by the Chinese characters you're seeing here. We're going to break them all down. We have 8 absolutely crucial words today. First up is ni, which means you. Next is hao, meaning good or well. Then we've got wo, which means I or me. Our fourth word is a verb, shi, meaning to be, so am, is, or are. Then we have 2 nouns, lao shi for teacher, and xue sheng for student. And finally, we have 2 incredibly important structural words, ma, which is a question particle, and bu, which just means not. Seriously, take a mental snapshot of these right now, because these 8 simple little blocks are literally all the gear we need to construct our sentences today.
Moving right along to Section 2, Simple Chinese Grammar Rules.
Okay, listen, if you've ever suffered through learning French or Spanish grammar, I'm about to deliver the absolute greatest news you're going to hear all day. Ready? Chinese has absolutely 0 verb conjugations. None. 0. Let's look at the she sentence. The verb she, meaning to be, never ever changes. It does not matter if you're talking about I, you, he, she, or they. It's this beautiful universal connector. It stays exactly the same 100% of the time, no matter who the subject is.
Now, what's really interesting here is how it completely exposes the complexity of English compared to the stunning simplicity of Chinese. Think about it. In English, we have to memorize I am, you are, he is. The verb just changes entirely based on the person. But in Chinese, the structure is literally just subject plus she plus noun. 我是学生 translates to I am a student. 你是老师 translates to you are a teacher. Do you see that? Shiz stays exactly the same. You just swap out the subject and the noun, and bam, your sentence is perfect.
Our second grammar rule involves this magic little question particle, ma. In English, right, turning a statement into a question usually means flipping the whole sentence upside down. But in Chinese, ma acts like this magical switch that you just snap onto the very end of your sentence.
So the crucial point here is just how effortless this transition is. We've got our statement, 你是老师, you are a teacher. To ask, are you a teacher? We don't change a single thing about that original word order. No way. We just drop that magic switch at the end to get 你是老师吗? Instantly, the whole thing becomes a yes or no question. It is just incredibly efficient.
All right, our third grammar rule is negation. How do we actually say not? Well, we use the block bu. And the rule is so incredibly simple. You just place bu directly in front of the verb she. So if 我是老师 means I am a teacher, inserting bu right before the verb gives us 我不是老师, I am not a teacher. Boom. In just a few minutes, you've literally learned how to state facts, ask questions, and deny claims.
Let's move to and see how this builds in Section 3, Tones and Character Writing.
So while Chinese grammar is remarkably easy, you've got to remember that Chinese is a tonal language. And what that means is the actual pitch of your voice changes the meaning of the word entirely. For our tone warnings today, the words ni and hao both use the third tone. This is a falling, rising tone. You basically want to drop your pitch down and swoop it right back up. Think of it kind of like you're slightly confused and asking, huh? So it's ni and hao. Say it with me, really dropping that pitch. Ni, hao. Now let's contrast that with the word for teacher, 老师. The she part uses the first tone. This tone is high and completely flat. You just want to hold that sound steady, almost like a saner hitting and holding a high note. She. So together it's 老师. If you mess up the tone, you might literally end up saying a completely different word, so definitely practice that pitch.
Now, what about the written characters themselves? I know Chinese writing might just look like random brushstrokes at first, but it's actually highly, highly logical.
Characters are built from these smaller pieces called radicals. And the golden rule here is that characters are typically drawn top to bottom and left to right. Take the character for ni. Step 1 is the person radical on the left. Step 2 is the you radical on the right. And just like puzzle pieces, they snap together horizontally left to right to build the complete character for ni.
And this brilliantly illustrates the poetic logic behind Chinese writing. With the character for hao, which means good, we have the radical for woman on the left and the radical for child on the right. When you put a woman and a child together, the historical concept represents harmony, well-being, or basically something good. Just visually snapping those two simple concepts together gives you an entirely brand new word.
All right, section 4, your first real dialogue. Let's put it all together.
Okay, you've got your vocabulary blocks, you've got your grammar rules, and your tones. It's time to face the final boss. I want you to literally read this out loud with me wherever you're sitting right now. Ready? Let's do it. Person A says, ni hao, hello. Person B replies, ni hao, hello. Person A then asks, ni shi lao shi ma? Are you a teacher? Person B answers, wo bu shi lao shi, wo shi shui sheng. I am not a teacher, I am a student. And person A concludes with, ha. Okay, or good. Would you look at that? You just successfully tracked and spoke a real Chinese interaction using every single Lego block we learned today.
But hey, just to make sure this really sticks, I've got a quick homework test for you. How do you translate the English phrase, "Are you a student?" into Chinese? Take a second. Remember your subject, remember your unchanging verb, your noun, and please don't forget that magic switch at the very end.
All right, did you get it right? Are you a student translates perfectly to ni shi shui sheng ma? If you got that, you are absolutely nailing the grammar. Now, for your continued practice today, I want you to translate 我不是老师 back to English, which, as we know, is I am not a teacher. Next, I want you to practice speaking ni hao out loud 10 times. Really focus on making sure your voice dips down and then comes right back up on the hao. And finally, grab a pen and write the characters for ni and hao 3 times each, making sure to remember that left to right rule. So how'd you do? Do you see now that Chinese isn't impossibly hard, but actually incredibly logical? You've just mastered your first 8 words and built real, functioning sentences. The real question is, do you feel empowered enough to tackle the next level? Are you ready for lesson 2, where we learn how to actually ask for names? If you are, you know what to do. Drop in next in the replies, or if you need me to clarify anything at all, just leave your question below. Keep practicing those tones, and I'll see you in the next explainer.